Protests over migrant hotels continued this weekend. Masked protesters reportedly became aggressive towards police inside a shopping centre in Canary Wharf. 4 people were arrested, including one person who allegedly punched an officer in the face. Pepper spray was deployed and at least one child was reportedly caught in the spray. Also this weekend, the Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson claimed Reform UK wants to provide or provoke anger about migration. And she said this in an interview with Sky's Trevor Phillips.
But Nigel Farage and Reform, they don't actually want to sort this problem. It is in their interest. They think their political interests are served by whipping up anger rather than fixing problems.
So, yeah, so that's your party, Anne, whipping up anger.
Yeah. The anger's already there. The frustration is already there. The failed policies are already there. Now, all Reform is doing is addressing that. We are not whipping up anger because the public is angry.
James?
I think it's much more than Reform. I think whole sections of the political media class have been whipping up false anger and accusation towards migrants, Muslims and minorities for a very long time. Isn't
it real, the anger there? Somebody, like in Epping, you know, firstly, they don't like people being put up free of charge in a hotel they can't stay in. And secondly, there's then a sexual assault, allegedly.
Allegedly, it's in the
Allegedly,
courts.
we're waiting. We're waiting for the verdict on that.
Yeah, no one's saying that people's anger isn't real. People are clearly angry. That's why people are protesting and so on. The question is large sections of our political and media class stirring that up further? And I think there the answer is unambiguously yes. And for the Labour Party to claim that it is others that doing it is completely wrong. If you look at the whole question on refugees, things that would have been seen as extreme right yesterday are proposed by the Conservative Party today and legislated for by the Labour Party tomorrow. As Tony Benn said.
I can just see Anne wanted to come in and thinking carefully here.
I mean, what I wanted to say was simply this. That problem is now being addressed. It wasn't being addressed before. There was a lot of very ineffectual exchange of blame going on, but not much being addressed. And I think that the significance of what Reform has done is to say, you know, we are going to address this problem, this is what we're going to do, some of which has now been copied by the other parties, and people feel a relief that politicians are taking it seriously.
But it's not being...
But what, I mean, we've got the Conservative... Reform said we're going to, as soon as you land on the beach, you're going to be arrested and then deported. You'd think the Conservatives would say that won't work. They actually said, well, we're going to go further. The same, but also women and children, Kemi Badenoch said. Separately, the Education Secretary was asked about whether the rights of asylum seekers come above those of local residents after it was decided that asylum seekers can continue living in the Bell Hotel in Epping. The Home Office had claimed that their responsibility to prevent asylum seekers becoming destitute trumped the council's powers to close the hotel.
It is about a balance of rights. When people come to this country and claim asylum, we have a responsibility as a government to assess their cases and to process them. For those who have got a clear right to be here, for those who have evidenced what they are facing in terms of persecution, refugees, then that will be decided. Where they don't, then we will take action to remove people from the country.
The problem here is that the argument that was made by the Home Office lawyers was basically that the most important thing the Home Office has to concentrate on in this case is the rights of the asylum seekers.
I mean, exactly.
And then the ministers then have to say, well, yeah, we agree.
You've got 2 sets of rights in opposition. And as far as I'm concerned, if you detain those asylum seekers in secure camps, then you don't infringe on the rights of the others while you are doing what you should be doing, which is processing the claims. But we have also said that if you come from a safe third country, which is France, for example, if you come from a safe third country, your claim is not going to be entertained.
James, does that make sense?
So what would make sense would be processing the people's applications faster. 10 years ago, 98% of applications were processed within 6 months.
Anne makes the point, if you come from France, you can't be afraid of anything.
Safe country, you can't be afraid of anything in France.
But you don't have they don't have status to live in France.
So why don't they apply to France?
Well, some people do, but some people, for example, people from Afghanistan who might have learnt English working with the BBC or British NGOs or with the British Army, have a reason to come here. People seek asylum in different countries because they have some connection to them.
We spend a fortune on interpreters, so it's not about language. We spend a fortune on interpreters.
But your policy, Anne, you will have to talk to the Taliban about resettling people.
Their own nationals.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to have to ring up the Taliban and tell them.
Unless those nationals prefer to go to a safe third country, such as Rwanda, and we would certainly entertain that.
So you're happy...
We will also pay people to go back voluntarily, and that applies to people of all nationalities.
Right, is there not a danger then we are effectively announcing, come to Britain and get some money?
No, because you'll be detained as soon as you arrive. And we will only pay you to go back if we know where you're going. We've got the documentation. You will not be allowed in again.
You're happy to send people back to a civil war in Sudan, back to indefinite military conscription in Eritrea, back to the Taliban in Afghanistan, when they may have worked
they've made it clear they are. They are.
We would offer the option of a third country, such as Rwanda. And also, I think Nigel Farage was quite right when he said, we cannot pick up all the world's problems. We would like to, but we can't.
How much will you pay them, by the way, to go?
Well, I think the suggested figure at the moment is not set in stone. It's 2,500.
OK. What, and that's travel money, or
no, that's
spending
to
money?
Go home.
To go, well, just as a sort of, like,
you
take this to go.
You've gone.
OK, can they come back and claim again?
I just said no.
No? All right, fine. But
Well,
I heard Nigel, you said what? But I was also listening when Nigel Farage was asked, how can you send people back to Afghanistan if it's in civil war? And he said, oh, I'm sick and tired of hearing this argument. If that's where they come from, that's the way they're going back to.
Well, the fact is, we cannot be responsible for every last one of the world's problems. We would all like, in theory, to accept people who want to come here. In practice, there have got to be firm limits.
OK. After the break, we're asking whether the government is right to give parents access to more free childcare from today. Give us a call with your thoughts.